Do you guys know how to count in Russian? Well, if you don't, that's what we're going to study today. Давайте посчитаем. Всем привет, меня зовут Jared, и я делаю русский язык легким. Everybody, my name's Jared, and I make the Russian language easy. Today's Monday, and as you know, every Monday we work on a few extra vocabulary words. Today we're going to learn how to count. Before we get to those numbers, I want to give you a really easy vocab word. Do you know the verb to read? Читать? I'm betting you do. Well, how do you spell count? C-O-U-N-T. It starts with a C. If you take the C and put it in front of читать in Russian, you now have to count. So to read and to count are kind of the same things, right? But if you just add the C in front of читать, you get to count. And it conjugates just like читать. So it's я считаю, I'm counting. Ты считаешь, you are counting, right? And so on. But here's another use for that word. They often will say count to mean I think. So you might hear them say, я считаю, что он прав. I think that he is right. Or it's like, in my opinion, sort of thing. Not too bad, right? You just got two new words by really only learning one new word, and that one new word was only one extra letter added to читать. You're welcome. Let's get started with the numbers. We're going to learn to count to 1 billion today, right? So you're going to learn 1 billion new words. But keep in mind, there aren't 1 billion different words. It's like English, where you need to learn the first 10, and then those roots are used throughout the other numbers, and I'm going to give you those. So let's start with 1. And 1 is один, and 1 and 2 are just a little bit different than all the other numbers because the word 1 has to agree in gender with whatever there is one of. So there's один, the masculine, одна, the feminine, see how it ends in the A here, одно, the neuter, ends in O, and одни, the plural, it ends in the E. Okay, so let's take a word, for example, ручка is a pen. So if you have one pen, you have одна ручка. If you have one table, you have один стол. Do you see how the word one in Russian has to agree in gender with whatever there is one of? Now you may be wondering, if you only have one of something, why do you need a plural ending for it? One is singular. How can it ever be plural? And that goes into the other meaning of one. It means alone. One time while I was in Ukraine, we were preparing a surprise party for a friend, and we knocked on someone's door, and they wanted to make sure that we weren't with that person because they had already started decorating inside. And she said, вы, she used the вы form because there were two of us, me and my friend, вы одни. So she was saying, are you alone? Meaning you didn't bring Natasha with you, did you? Because she didn't want Natasha coming in and ruining the surprise. We said, да, мы одни. All right, so that's kind of how that is. If you guys are getting something out of this video, I would love it if you would smash that like button down below. All right, let's go on to 2. And I promise you all the other numbers are not this complicated. There's just 1 or 2 are kind of weird. And 2 is not even as bad as 1. There's два, that means 2. And then there's две, and that's the feminine form of 2. They don't have a neuter and they don't have a plural, and none of the other numbers you have to worry about that. Now, if you need the neuter or plural of anything, you're just going to use два. You're only going to use две if it's feminine. All right, we got the hard ones out of the way. Let's keep going. And there's one thing I really want to encourage you to do. As I give you these words, say them after me so that you can start to learn the pronunciation. Don't just watch the video, but actually say them out loud. And don't just say them in your mind. It's different when you're saying them out loud. All right, let's get going. Один, два, три. That's 3. It kind of sounds like 3, right? Три. Четыре. Пять. Шесть. Семь. Восемь. Девять. Десять. Okay, so those were the first 10. Those are very important to learn because those roots are going to carry on to all the other numbers that we're going to use going forward. Similar to, you know, how we have 6 in English and then 16, right? We just have the teen on there and that gives you the 16, right? You don't have to learn the whole new number again. Same in Russian. The other reason that you want to learn these too is because these roots are used in a lot of other words in Russian, not just in the counting world, but also in other roots of other Russian words. And you'll see what those are as they come up here. 11 through 19 are what I call the nadzat words, because you're just going to take the root number or the first number and you're going to add the nadzat onto it. It's similar to our teen in the example that I just gave you. If we wanted to say 11, we would say одиннадцать. You see how I just added the nadzit onto it? Одиннадцать. 12, двенадцать. Девятнадцать. Can you guess what 13 is? Try that. Do you remember what 3 is? It sounds like our 3, right? It's 3. So if we add the nadzit, it's тринадцать. Четырнадцать. Пятнадцать. Шестнадцать. Семнадцать. Восемнадцать. Девятнадцать. The next set of words are a little bit different in that the repeating Russian word isn't going to come at the end. It's not a suffix, but it's actually a prefix. It comes at the beginning, and that's двадцать. And that's actually the word for 20, двадцать. So 21 is двадцать, один. See how we kind of put those together and we get 21? 22, двадцать два. Can you guess 23? Right, двадцать три, двадцать четыре. And it continues on from there. I'm not going to do them all because we got to get to 1 billion, and clearly we don't have 10 hours on this video here. So let's go to the next group. Okay, for the next set of words from 30 to 90, I'm just going to give you what each group of 10 means. So I'll give you 30, 40, 50, and then just going to add on whatever number you want after that. So you'd say like 31, 39, right? So you're just taking 30 and adding the 9 on. Not hard at all. So 30 is тридцать. 40, this is kind of the weird one. The others kind of follow the same roots as to their numerals there, but this one's a little weird. 40 is сорок. Сорок. So you'd say сорок пять, сорок шесть, and so on. 50, пятьдесят. Пятьдесят. 60, шестьдесят. So can you give me 63? I almost said it in Russian. Can you give me 63? Шестьдесят три. 70. Семьдесят. 70. 80. Восемьдесят. 80. 90. This one is a little bit different as well. Девяносто. There is the root in there, девять, but it's девяносто. 100 is сто. Сто. So if you wanted to say 101, you'd say сто один. If you wanted to say 131, you would say сто тридцать один. You see how the pattern is there? It's just like in English, and I hope it's like whatever native language you're speaking there, but it's сто тридцать один. We're just adding on everything, and so from here it gets easy. All right, so let's go do groups of 100 now. 100, 200, 300, and so on. 100, you know, is сто. 200 is двести. 300, триста. четыреста. 500. 600. 700. 800. 900. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but most of them are ending in the sot, and that's just a variation of sto, which is 100. It's kind of a mutated root word there, but that's kind of where it's coming from. Now we're on to the thousands, and 1,000 is тысяча. What you need to notice with тысяча, 1,000, is that it's feminine. So if we go back to 1 and we want to say 1,000, we don't say один тысяча. That would be incorrect. We would say одна тысяча. Same thing with 2, две тысячи. This is probably a good place where I could say, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I put out content 3 times a week. Monday's vocab, Tuesday's grammar, Friday is a cultural tidbit there. So be sure and subscribe to the channel so you get those updates there. Okay, so we did 1,000, тысяча. Now we need to do 1,000,000, and that's not hard. Миллион. Sounds the same as it kind of does in English, right? Миллион. And then 1 billion is similar to million, but it's instead of million, it's milliard. Milliard. Ends with the kind of the Russian de there. All right, now that we've got up to billion, I'm going to give you the one number that we didn't cover. You know what that is? Any guesses? Yeah, it's 0. And that's ноль. And what you want to notice too with ноль is it's the myaky znak. So you got to kind of palatize that L there. Ноль. All right, you guys, that wasn't too hard. Really, you just need to go memorize the first 10 numbers and then the little prefixes or suffixes for all the other words, and then you've got a billion new words. Pretty cool, huh? Ну хорошо, тогда это все. Спасибо и увидимся.